Severe weather in Texas is starting to become the new normal. This trend has many Texas residents wondering why this is all happening.
The air circling around the equators needs to be vastly different than the air circulating around the poles in order to have stable jet streams. When they're too close in temperature, the polar vortex can wobble into the middle of the earth near the equators, and it can cause things like the winter storm to occur. So if you look at the global temperature everywhere in the world, there's an average increase, but the highest increases are at the poles. So it means that the air that's supposed to be significantly colder is not as cold. Global temperatures have been increasing due to increases in the greenhouse gases.
With the frequency of severe weather increasing, Texas has also seen an increase in the number of power outages. In fact, Texas has seen the largest increase of power outages in the United States over the last 20 years. These outages have made it more difficult for those who work at local animal shelters to care for their residents.
We were simply not prepared. I mean, who would have thought a shelter would lose power for 3 entire days? It makes it difficult for us, especially during cold temperatures or extremely hot temperatures, to maintain a certain environment for the animals out here at our shelter. We had to move dogs around and house them in areas. Most of our kennels are indoor outdoor. So we weren't able to house them in an area that were indoor outdoor because it was too cold. And we couldn't climate control it because the power was out. So we had to move them into the interior of the building and house them in smaller areas. Staff had to stay the night to help monitor the animals and make sure their kennels were cleaned, because there just aren't enough people to come in and do it. With the outdoor with the ice and the snow, it was difficult for people to get to the shelter. So we had to have staff stay the night to help care for the animals. It did affect our ability to clean the kennels because we have hoses that are attached to the chemical system that are powered with, power. So we had to hook up hoses and clean the old-fashioned way, which is fine. But with the temperatures and all the other cleaning materials that we use, it just was very difficult for staff to make sure the animals were cleaned properly.
Our power went out for about 8 hours one day during the latest storm, and it really had a huge impact on our operations that day because of having to try to clean and do everything that we do without any lights in the shelter. So it was a difficult process we had to work through.
The shelters hope to get generators to help ease the burden on staff during power outages. But securing one isn't so easy.
We were trying to repurpose the generator that was used in one of the other city buildings, but it needs to be retrofitted, and that may be more costly than just purchasing a new one, which is no small purchase.
As the frequency of severe weather increases, Texas could see more power outages in its future.
I believe that Texas is not set up to be resilient to these occurrences.
I'm Chris Cordova.